Worst way is probably...
Worst way for me, just raw.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of the. Hello. It's if you're watching this, it might be a little bit different because for the first time in 153 episodes and 6 specials, Connor and I are not in the same room.
Yes, that is actually true. I know it may not look it sometimes, but we are actually always recording in the same room. This is our first.
Yeah, mostly the same room, but yeah.
This is our first remote podcast.
So if, bear with us, as it will be slightly different audio, but only be for a few weeks, so stay tuned. But
hopefully not super scuffed. Hopefully it'll be all right. I think we've done our best. Unfortunately, it is not our usual audio setup, but we still are using at least microphones, so...
Yes, I am in fact rocking the OG Nerdy Misfit microphone.
Oh, there you are.
From our very first few episodes. If you've ever listened to the first few, I hope the audio is a little bit cleaner than that.
Yes.
The
Yeti.
But alas, the Yeti.
Yep.
But yeah, here's a topic. We're gonna talk about a topic that we've talked about a few times before in various either episodes, tier lists, etc.
That's right.
And then, so we're back at it again.
Yep.
With breakfast.
Seems to be our go-to not nerd-related topic.
Exactly, but there's so much to talk about when it comes to breakfast, so it makes sense, you know?
Yeah, so we're not going to be diving too deep into cereals, because we've already done a cereal tier list, so if you haven't already, check that out. We'll put the link down.
Potentially controversial cereal tier list.
Some could say. Some did say. Some of the fellow Misfits were not happy with it.
They were quite shocked, so you should go check that out. And then come back. Or stay.
Yeah, and then we've had one where it was more just... We were a little bit bouncing all over the place. This one's going to be a little bit more actually structured as a breakfast topic. So I guess without further ado, Matt, we'll dive into breakfast. And I guess the first question would be, what is your go-to breakfast? If you're just regular day, whatever that...
I'm making it?
Yeah, you're making it, and you've got... whatever average time you have in the morning. You have a work day, you don't have time, it's just whatever amount of time you usually give yourself when you wake up.
Okay, all right. If it's like a casual morning, I got enough time to make an actual breakfast, but not like go full out. Probably just some over medium eggs with some toast, butter, good to go.
Easy peasy.
Nice, simple.
Any sauce on that?
No, like salt, pepper, and seasoned salt is
Okay.
my usual go-to when it comes to making my eggs.
Nice. That's very...
So,
I'd say it's about the same for me.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm big over easy or over medium, either or. It kind of depends on how...
The time, really.
Yeah, I would say it depends on how much I'm paying attention. If I'm really trying, because sometimes it's like I just throw the egg in the frying pan, and sometimes I'm not paying attention and it cooks a little further than desired. But then, yeah, piece of toast with some butter, and then I'll maybe throw like some hot sauce like sriracha or something over top.
Okay, yeah.
And then that's good to go. Easy peasy. Can't go wrong with eggs and toast.
It's simple. It's not too time sensitive.
Yeah, you can make eggs real quick.
Boom.
And then the big thing
Especially...
is sometimes I'll change it up. I'll also do like scrambled eggs, but it's the same formula, right? Like it's a quick whip out the fork, and instead you give it a quick whip in a bowl, and boom, scrambled eggs instead.
What ends up happening for me is that if I am trying to do like over easy or like over medium, and the egg like bursts as soon as I put it into the pan, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm chopping these up. I'm having awkward scrambled eggs now.
Yeah, I've
I'm
definitely been there.
It.
Yep.
I'm like, if one of them breaks, I'm like, this is it. They're all getting broken now.
Another quickie breakfast that I do a lot, and this is depending on what I've had for dinner during the week, is we will often do like rice bowls or some variety of that thing, so we'll cook a lot of rice. And with the leftover rice, I'll like microwave that, and as that's microwaving, I'll like fry up an egg, and I'll put the egg on top of the rice with a little bit of soy sauce,
perfect.
sesame oil, and siracha, and I'll give it a little mix with the runny yolk, and that's like chef kiss. That's also a pretty solid breakfast.
Nice. Beautiful breakfast. Heck yeah.
Okay, so what about if you've got time? Let's say it's the weekend, you got no work, you got all the time in the world.
Oh, then I'm doing probably, like, if I'm getting, like, if it's, like, a lazy morning, but I still have enough time, I'm easily making bacon with that. Just, like, take
adding
the
bacon to
extra
the
step,
eggs,
make some bacon. Yeah, simple like that. I'm weird because I don't like making breakfast sausage at home. But I'll go out. If I go for breakfast, I'll probably have breakfast sausage.
Okay.
But if I'm at home, I don't traditionally make breakfast sausage.
Do you like breakfast sausage in like the patties, or do you prefer like the links?
The links, for sure.
Yeah, I'm also a bigger fan of the links. Obviously, like you can't go wrong with the patty patty's just for a sandwich, right? Like if you're having a breakfast sandwich, exactly. Obviously makes sense. But I definitely am like, links if you're having a plate, like a proper plate of breakfast. Do you happen to do like any like American style where you're like throwing in bacon, sausage, maybe throwing in like pancakes, or are you more leaning towards the like UK, like the English style where you maybe throw in some beans?
Not really a big bean guy for breakfast. That one I know it's like a European thing, but
yeah, the baked beans.
Not my cup of tea. Yeah, like baked beans to me has always been like a dinner thing.
Okay, yeah,
like pork and beans. Personally, but yeah, no, bacon, nice crispy bacon with a little bit of fat. You know, I don't like my bacon too fatty, but I don't like it too like. There's a soft middle between fatty and crunchy.
Okay, yeah, you a P-mail? Do you like P-mail bacon or Canadian bacon?
Oh, maybe I freaking love P-mail bacon.
Oh yeah, more or less than like the streaky like fatty bacon. Close.
It's close for me. Yeah, I would say like I would do like regular crispy fatty bacon, P-mail bacon, and then breakfast sausage links.
All right, so you got heavy on the meat.
Yeah,
heavy on the meat. Yeah, I honestly I like bacon, but I don't like love it. You know, a lot of people just like think bacon's like the greatest thing. I could honestly live without bacon, personally.
Oh, that is a bold statement.
Yeah, I could definitely personally live without streaky bacon. It's definitely delicious. I like P-mail bacon more, but if I'm saying optimal breakfast where I've got time, it's like, we have this thing that we make, which is called like potato bread, or we call it tatty bread. It's basically very similar to like a gnocchi dough kind of, where it's like you're just using like leftover potatoes, ricing them and mixing with flour until you got like a workable dough, and then we fry them in like the bacon fat. Okay. And they're just like these soft, like really delicious, great at like soaking up some egg yolk if you've got like a runny eggs.
Those sound delicious, to be honest.
And then gotta have the sausage, breakfast sausage links for sure. Yeah, and then basically just whatever egg I'm feeling, toast. I never used to like baked beans. I do, and I'll have them at time to time now. I do boogify the can of like, the classic Heinz can of beans. I will boogify them, throw them on the stove, add a couple more seasonings, maybe a little bit of maple syrup or something, and cook them down so they're more thicker than just like soupy.
Okay.
I kind of like them like that. But not with my breakfast. Sometimes I really like cooking up, if we have them, like mushrooms. Not like sliced, but like I'll quarter them, like maybe just like simple like white mushrooms, like button mushrooms, and I'll throw those in the frying pan and get them nice and like golden. Those are really nice with some breakfast as well, like your more traditional American plate. I have had like, more of like the brunchy eggs, and a lot of people will look towards like eggs Benedict or Florentine. Definitely good. I just don't know if it's worth the amount of effort to make like the hollandaise and stuff personally.
Oh yeah, no, I would never do that for myself.
No,
I would use it as an option to, if I'm going up for breakfast and I'm not paying, then eggs Benedict for sure.
Oh, okay. Then you can, then it's okay. Then you'll go a little bit extra. But yeah, for myself, like exactly. I have made it, but it's just
so much extra work.
It's a lot of work. Similar is omelets, where it's like there's like that amount of effort, because for me, I prefer having like omelets. I like having some onions, some bell peppers, perhaps maybe a bit of garlic, and I like to like, saute that, like to have it like cook down a bit. So then you have to like go into cutting all the vegetables, sautéing all the vegetables before you even get into preparing the actual eggs. And
yeah, omelets for me are like case by case because the only time I'll end up making omelets is if I have tacos the night before.
Oh, and you just have all the leftover
leftovers of the
vegetables?
meat and exactly.
Yeah, that is a good meal
the only
though.
time I'm making omelets.
It is nice because it's all just in one thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Sometimes if I'm really feeling like if I have to be feeling it though for an omelet in the morning, where I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll make an omelet, throw some cheese in there. But it's
Get real bougie with it.
not my go-to. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have here in our document if there's any like nostalgic breakfast you have. Anything that maybe
not
like,
particularly from home.
Not from home, no.
No, I'm trying to think. Well, like, so I never put I guess this is kind of weird, but like, when my dad had a restaurant, it would probably be his eggs. Like, he used to do them over easy.
Yeah, yeah.
And growing up, I never put seasoned salt on my eggs. It was just kind of salt and pepper.
Right.
But then when I first go into his restaurant to get breakfast and stuff, he put seasoned salt on eggs, and I was like, it was a whole game changer for me.
I've never had seasoned salt on my eggs. I definitely will be trying this though.
It's good. It's just like a I don't know. I don't use salt and pepper.
It gives it that je ne sais quoi.
Good to go. Exactly. Exactly. Just enough extra oomph. This is good.
Yeah, for me, nostalgia wise, I think the biggest nostalgic breakfast for me is probably like have you ever had cream of wheat? It's like very
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a porridge, I guess, is like the closest thing, I guess I would say. Used to have that like with my family when we were younger, like on like a Sunday or like a weekend where it took, because it takes more time slowly making it on the stove. Or like when we were sick, my mom would make that for me and my brothers. And we'd just do like a little...
I'm going through this...
You go...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we'd sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on the top and good to go.
Oh, fair enough. I will mention this now because I'm looking at our list and we don't have this mentioned at all. Is that kind of reminded me of oatmeal. Do you ever have oatmeal for breakfast? Do you find oatmeal to be...
I think
like,
oatmeal...
Case by case, like...
In high school, I had oatmeal a lot because I just have like one of those packs.
Yeah.
And I just throw it in a bowl with... And do you make oatmeal with milk or water?
I prefer water over milk, personally.
I'm a milk oatmeal person. So, yeah, it was like milk with the oatmeal, throw it in the microwave with a little packet, stir it quick. I think I've probably overcooked it so many times where it was just not even real oatmeal. It's just almost like, you're like scraping at your bowl and it's just like a one lump because it's no longer like a full.
Yep.
But just because of how quick it was, because I would wake up so like late to catch like the bus. So it'd be like, this is like, takes like 2 minutes in the microwave. Chow it down and go.
I don't think I've ever had oatmeal with milk, to be honest.
No?
I've always done water. It seems weird. I feel like it would depend on the flavor. I don't know. Like, apple cinnamon oatmeal in my head doesn't sound good with milk.
But does apple cinnamon lattes?
I guess, yeah, for my...
That's
true.
Cinnamon lattes, milk? Starting to make sense, yeah? You have to give it a try. What if you had oat milk with it? Oat milk for your oatmeal?
I feel like that'd be too oat heavy. I don't know.
Too on the nose?
There's like some oat milk that I don't even like that because it's too oaty.
Okay. I think you should try it with milk. You should give it a go. My go-to definitely was like the maple cinnamon though. That was my go-to oatmeal from the Quaker, from the man himself.
And going before we move on to the next topic here for breakfast, glass of milk for breakfast?
No.
Or is that more of a dinner thing?
No.
Or just no glasses of milk?
No.
You don't drink?
I never
glasses
liked
of
milk. Growing up, never liked milk. I probably drink more milk now than I ever drank before. And that's mostly because I often will have like an iced latte that I make at home. And that is where I use my milk. Cereal only. Growing up, it was a cereal only thing. Milk. I hated drinking milk growing up.
Dang.
Yep. I like OJ though.
I never had... That's fair. I'm an apple juice kind of guy.
Apple juice is fantastic, but I just don't think apple juice is a breakfasty juice, in my opinion. In my experience.
That's understandable. I don't know. I always had chocolate milk for breakfast because I remember like when I'd go to high school, like I'd always hit up the cafeteria before first bell and just grab one of those small chocolate milks.
Yeah, I had a chocolate milk for lunch. there was like in the province we grew up, where there was like a milk program during elementary school where like. So,
I do remember that. Yeah.
So I would have chocolate milk at lunch.
Simpler times.
Simpler times. Simpler times indeed. So, getting into the complications of breakfast. When does breakfast end? Or should it end? Time-wise.
See, I feel like it really depends, but also doesn't depend. I don't know, because like if people working nights, right, they're gonna go to sleep like at 5, 6, 7 in the morning when breakfast is kind of like at its peak, and they'll have to eat breakfast later. But that's like their own time clock, you know.
That's
For the average person, is breakfast all day? No, it's not. For me,
I think
breakfast stops
11.
between 10:30 and 11.
Yeah, probably 11 I'm leaning towards. But I'm definitely not upset that somewhere like McDonald's has all-day breakfast. I'll tell you that.
Well, they have half their menu stops around 10:30, 11. This is how I base it off of breakfast stopping, because Wendy's stops breakfast at 10:30. McDonald's stops it at 11.
Okay.
So this is where I'm like, that range kind of makes sense.
But sometimes you do crave that Egg McMuffin, you know?
Oh, I don't like eggs from fast food restaurants. I'm very 50-50 on.
Definitely 50-50. I think McDonald's, obviously, I think they're probably the best. Probably has something to do with they're doing it the longest.
Especially the last few years. Yeah.
We used to work together down in tourism, and we often went to, shocker, Tim Hortons here in Canada. Ooh. And since I left, they actually changed the eggs to quote unquote freshly cracked eggs, similar to McDonald's.
I can't have the Tim Hortons egg.
They do not do a good job.
No.
I don't think
I used to have the farmer's wrap like every morning.
Yeah, since they changed the eggs, I don't think I've ever had a good experience with the breakfast from Tim Hortons. Whereas before, I don't think I could go wrong. Whether it was with their, like you said, like the farmer's wrap, or just like the biscuit, egg and biscuit. Another thing that, you know, I think Burger King is a big one of this, but Tim Hortons had their own version, which was the croissant sandwich,
Those were good.
That was just fire. That might be one of the best breakfast sandwiches I've had. The
breakfast sandwich on croissants slap.
Oh, so good with some bacon, because the Tim Hortons sausage is also bad. There's a lot bad. There's so bad there. It's a poor Tim Hortons.
The thing is, I don't really like McDonald's bacon. I prefer McDonald's sausage over their bacon, but at Tim Hortons, it's the reverse. I can't stand.
I don't know what the Tim Hortons one also feels like. It's instant heartburn. Sausage. The sausage is like instant heartburn. It's just not ultra greasy. I don't know what's going on.
It's spiced so weird, and the grease is just too much.
Yeah. Okay. So breakfast ends at 11. Other than McDonald's, we'll let McDonald's slide for just the Egg McMuffin, classic Egg McMuffins. I don't think you should be selling really anything else. I think there are picky eaters who might like an egg sandwich, which is part of the reason. But I like your thought process of people having different times. Like, hey,
it kind of makes sense, right? And the way to look at it is like traditionally, in quotations, a lot of people work 9 to 5 or like 8 to 4 even, right? So your lunch break is going to probably be around 11 or 12 depending. Yeah. So that would be the good transition time.
No, yeah, I agree. And then you go into brunch, right? Yeah. I mean, like, obviously when you're thinking of fast food, no, but that's when a restaurant might be like, okay, like we're ending our breakfast at 10:30. We're moving into brunch for the next little bit. Maybe even 9. 11 to 2? Brunch?
I think 11 to 2 is a good brunch time. Because, like, you know, those are people that are going into work in the afternoon or, like, waking up from their night shift. Like, it gives them enough time to have some breakfast stuff, or gives people time to get early lunch, late lunch, etc. before you get into, like, dinner and stuff. And I don't know. Then it's up for interpretation of when does dinner start and when does lunch end, you know?
I know for some people brunch is a very big deal. Like, it's like a special occasion. We're going out to X restaurant to get brunch, like a place that they go regularly for said thing. I don't know if I've been out for specifically brunch. And if I have, it hasn't been for a really long time. I think
some restaurants do like an afternoon special, which is usually like 11 to 2 or like 12 to 2 for like different like sales and stuff, for like a cute little lunch menu almost.
Yeah, I think because I've been to like some, breakfasty or almost breakfast specific restaurants, but I've never been out to like one that's known for their brunch. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't.
We'll have to hit up a brunch
Maybe we'll
place.
go for brunch, a brunch restaurant specific.
Could be good. Could be good.
Could be.
Okay. We've covered brunch. We've covered breakfast, traditional breakfast, what you like. I guess we've discussed eggs a bit, but we should dive a little deeper just because eggs are so
versatile.
They really are. You can do so many things with them. So what your favorite way to have eggs over medium?
Yeah, I think if I'm cooking them myself over medium, I think
and then
that
if
is
someone's
really
preparing
good.
them for you, you'll be like, okay, yeah, you can poach it. Throw some hollandaise on there.
Yeah, exactly. Some eggs Benedict or even like a good Western sandwich.
Oh yeah. Nice Western sandwich.
Like I feel like that's underrated.
So you don't mind a runny yolk, just not super runny?
Yeah, I don't like. I used to grow up a lot. As a kid, I used to love just dipping my toast into the eggs all the time. But then the biggest thing about that being a kid is, you get like 1 or 2 eggs and you get 2 slices of toast, right?
Yep.
It's just the egg yolk to toast ratio is always off.
Definitely.
So when I was like, you know what, over medium, the egg is cooked a bit. I can dip like a slice, and then I can use the other
spread it
slice or two to spread it, or just make a sandwich out of it, etc.
Okay. So if you're okay with yolk, I was just curious because if you're okay with yolks, then how is your feelings about scrambled eggs? Because I know scrambled eggs is a very hotly debated topic. We can get into like the in depth if we want to think of like French with the small curd, or like like the Gordon Ramsay style, or more like American with the very thick curd. But either way, has to be like totally cooked through? You don't want to see like any liquid whatsoever, or are you totally okay with having it like that a little bit more on the moist side, but still cooked, but like, you know what I'm saying? A little bit.
When you're transitioning to scrambled eggs, to me it has to be more dry, but not to the point of buffet style dry scrambled eggs.
Yeah, like just chunks.
Because that is a whole different breed. It's just, I don't even know if that's egg at that point. It's just super dry chunks. Like, I will always stay away from scrambled eggs at buffets, even though that's like the most common thing.
It's because it's so easy to make in batch. Yeah, I think for me growing up, it was always had to be dry, but I've definitely, as your palate changes and you get used to stuff, I think I've definitely grown more accustomed to being like leaving them a little bit more on the moist side and enjoying them that way. Another cool thing I've learned, I think this was from J. Kenji Lopez Alt, which is a little bit of a little cornstarch slurry in your scrambled eggs when you're whisking them up. And that actually helps to keep your eggs like fluffy or like very texturally very nice. Even if you like to take them a little further than, quote unquote optimal temperature for eggs.
Yeah.
Like if you like them a little bit on that drier side, they'll still turn out to be delicate. Like it kind of helps with that. You'll have to try it. I really enjoy it using that, and I've had good results with cooking that way for friends.
Nice. Okay. So then, polar opposite. What's the worst way to have eggs?
Ooh. Worst way to have eggs? Hard boiled?
Yeah.
Like if you're just talking like
eggs?
If you're talking about breakfast, like I feel like a hard boiled egg for breakfast. Like I don't mind a hard boiled egg like in like a potato salad. I like it in a potato salad.
Do you ever do like a hard boiled egg sandwich?
Yeah, like an egg sandwich. Yeah,
style?
Yeah, egg salad. Yeah. Like an egg salad, totally fine. But for breakfast, a hard boiled egg just seems so sad.
It does.
Like you're cutting into that white, and then it's just like a hard yolk. I don't know. That just feels really sad.
I don't know, because I did that a couple times where I used to get like hard boiled eggs in the morning and just literally just chop it up, salt, pepper, throw it on toast, and
it's definitely a good source of like protein and like getting some fuel for the morning. But I just think like it's a sad way to have an egg for breakfast.
See, I think that's a sad way to have eggs, but not the worst way.
Worst way is probably
worst way for me, just raw. People that just crack it, put it in a shot glass, and just shoot back a whole egg.
Okay, that's valid.
I understand the benefits of it, but
No,
not
that's
for
valid.
me.
I don't like the white snoogie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just, and it's funny because like I've tried it as someone we've talked about. Obviously, I do enjoy making cocktails, and as someone who, if you're not making like what people think, because there's like kind of this view on cocktails where there's like traditional cocktails, and then there's like all the frozen daiquiris and stuff that people think are cocktails, which they are, just not traditional, right? So and a lot of traditional cocktails have egg white in them. And a lot of people are really, really turned off by that. They're like, no. And it's like, you just got to try it, I promise it doesn't taste like egg white. It doesn't have a texture of like than egg white. You'll never notice it's there. And that's one of the...
true, because we tried that.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest hump for people to get over. But it really does add a really great mouthfeel. And that sounds so like elitist. But it really does add a really great change to the cocktail. But yeah, I can't do a raw egg. I can do it in things like that, like a cocktail. I can have egg white. I can do, in certain cases, the egg yolk. Like, if you have really, really hot rice, I could do an egg yolk on top of rice and like put it through. But I don't think I could do the egg white because I don't think the egg white would ever get quote unquote cooked, or like that texture would ever go away enough for me to enjoy it. But like an egg yolk, it feels like you're just adding richness most of the time, and like it's not that much different than having an over easy egg.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with the yolk there, so I'm like, okay, but this is fine. But yeah,
I think another thing too,
egg whites.
for me, it's just too much. Another thing too is that I can't, like, people do this, and I'm, you do you, but I can't do it. Is like the carton of eggs, like not the physical eggs, but like a milk carton.
Yeah.
Of egg juice almost, and I'm just like,
egg juice.
I understand it's easy, it's convenient, but it's
absolutely.
I don't know what it is.
I think some of it
makes me uncomfortable.
I think you wouldn't notice in some cases if it's like a better brand of it, because I think certain brands probably are better than others when it like anything, right? Big thing obviously is people that are really watching, like if they want just the egg whites, like they're trying to avoid the cholesterol and fats or whatever from the yolk. I can totally see like you don't want to separate eggs every morning or something. So I totally get the convenience of it. But yeah, I would agree. In most cases, I feel like you should like fresh egg is always best.
Definitely.
And I know like here there are some cases of people being scared of salmonella and whatnot, but like Japan, man, they eat raw eggs all the time because it's just not
all the time.
It's just not a thing, right? So it would be nice if we could somehow get I don't know what exactly Japan's doing, whether it's just cleaner conditions or what's going on there. But man, like it would be nice because then I feel like a lot of people aren't experiencing eggs in their fullest potential because they're scared of them.
Yeah.
And, an egg, it's delicious. You should enjoy it in all different ways. Try it in every way.
Great for every meal.
And as I'm away from home, actually, one big thing I'm going to be trying to do is I was told that there's a bagel place.
Ooh.
Like 10-ish minutes or so away from here. And I've never had a fresh bagel, like made in-house.
Okay. Yeah.
So... And as like we mentioned, as we worked in tourism together, we did often have some bagels. So I am very curious on how different a fresh bagel is going to be. Have you ever experienced fresh bagel? Have you been to like Montreal or anything?
I haven't been to any like big cities that have bagels. I will say, in my history of being a barista, every place that I've been a barista get their bagels from different places.
Right.
So one of the places, obviously the biggest one that I worked at, it would come frozen. Mm-hmm. It's pre-frozen bagels, whatever. The second place I was barista at, we got them at a local bagel shop run by like two dudes. So they got dropped off the morning of. So those were pretty fresh. Those are pretty good. Like I always got like the cinnamon raisin one.
How would you compare those to the frozen? Like night and day?
Better.
Like way better? Yeah. Like worth
you can
it?
Taste the difference.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then where I work now, where it's a cafe and a bakery, like sourdough bagels, like it whole different ball game.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole different ball game. Yeah, so I'm
Like,
excited to
with sourdough.
I'm
with
excited to
beans,
do a
just, yeah,
everything
it's great.
bagel because that's my go-to. Is an everything bagel.
Yes.
So I'm maybe try some like lox, bagel and lox.
I will have to bring you when you come back. I'll have to get you some bagels from the place I work because we just upped our bagel game. Like we used to only offer 3 different bagels, but now we're offering 7 different types of bagels. And yeah, I'm so pumped. I took a photo of them the other day for their socials, but
I'm down to try. I think, yeah, my go-to bagel is definitely an everything bagel, usually with cream cheese. That's definitely my go-to. Mm-hmm. Tim Hortons used to have this really amazing, it was like a Greek yogurt blueberry bagel.
Yes, I do recall that.
Oh, man, that was so good. Probably so bad for you, but that was so good.
I mean, my go-to bagel was the maple cinnamon French toast.
Oh, that bagel's also fire with some butter.
It was,
that was like a dessert.
So sweet, but so good.
Yeah,
it really was.
It was like a dessert. Yeah, that reminds me. I also liked the maple pecan Danish from Tim Hortons.
That was a good one too. Yeah,
but I haven't been to Tim Hortons. I think the last time I had Tim Hortons, I had a decaf coffee from a couple months ago, and that was my first time going there in years since I stopped working in tourism.
I go often, like, because one of my places I work, it's closer to the Tim Hortons. I don't usually get breakfast. I will occasionally if they're offering maple bacon.
Okay. Yep.
And then that kind of like offsets the flavor of their egg a bit.
No McDonald's close by?
I'm a little bit more. There's McDonald's too, but it's McDonald's is my go-to. But if I'm in a rush, I pass the Tim Hortons in my office.
Okay.
McDonald's is like a couple extra minutes away. So I go to Tim Hortons out of convenience, not because I want to.
Have you ever had the Wendy's breakfast?
I have not yet.
I have not had it.
I'm very hesitant.
Yes, that I would say that for me, it is a very similar feeling. I feel like if I'm going to a fast food restaurant for breakfast, knowing that I'm going to go there for it, meaning probably I have the time to be like, I'm going on my way to do this, I feel like I just would rather go to A&W and sit down and have a real breakfast.
Oh, yeah. If you have the time, then A&W is arguably the best breakfast place for multiple reasons. I don't know if they still do, but back when we were in college, you were able to go and ask for your eggs scrambled over easy.
Yep. You
have a tomato on the side, etc. Like breakfast sausage.
Yeah, they have a real proper breakfast platter.
Exactly. But also their breakfast sandwiches are great. Like getting a breakfast sandwich on a burger bun, like a sesame seed bun, is so unique and so delicious.
Definitely good.
And their cheese is also probably the best for breakfast, I find.
You think the A&W cheese is different than any of the other cheeses?
It tastes different. I don't know what it is, man, but
maybe. I'm not too sure. I think it's still just American cheese, but
it might be, but it could be that 100% American cheese.
Oh, true. You're right. I never thought about that.
That slightly less plasticky flavoring.
So if you're sitting down, you're going to A&W.
Yeah.
And if you're going to the window, it sounds like it's almost guaranteed going to be McDonald's if you can.
Guaranteed McDonald's, but what I get from McDonald's changes from time to time.
Oh, yeah. You throw it in
like,
a McGriddle?
If I am ready for a feast and I'm going through the drive-thru, getting that McGriddle and hating myself.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But in the moment is so great.
Oh, it is. It hits different, eh? In the moment, you're like, this is fantastic. And then after, you're like, yep, nope, I'm a piece of shit.
And then it hits you a different, it hits you in a very different way. I can't have more than one either.
No, for sure. But it is.
It's a whole meal.
Oh, it is good.
But my go-to right now there is basically it's a junior chicken, but breakfast. So you can get
I've seen that.
Like a junior chicken McGriddle, and it's literally just chicken and pancakes, which is a big thing in the States, I would say. No,
I
like
think
pancakes,
so, yeah.
chicken.
I saw that they were also running a promotion with Canadian maple syrup for some of their sandwiches as well.
Their maple bacon, like with the maple syrup, is great too. Like McDonald's is definitely top tier for like sandwich wise. I think McDonald's is the way to go. But if you're able to sit in and want that breakfast feel on the go, I guess, because if you have enough time to go sit in somewhere, just go to an actual breakfast place.
Yeah, get like some nice French toast or like a crepe, something that's harder for you to make at home, right?
Yeah, that or like if you're local and stuff, go to your local mom and pa.
Yeah, there's a lot.
shop.
There's a lot of them. You'd be surprised how many there might be in your cities too.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be surprised. Like where we live specifically, like I live 5 minutes
from a very
drive,
cheap
maybe,
breakfast.
From one of them.
Yeah.
They have not raised their prices in like 8-9 years. I should not be getting a whole giant platter of breakfast for $12. But I am A-okay with it.
Yeah, they do a good job. Quick too, like.
Oh yeah.
Which is what you would expect from breakfast.
Mom and pa feel.
Yep, for sure.
Yes.
I was gonna say.
I don't think breakfast should have a long wait time.
I mean, it depends on what it is. I think if you're being fancified, like if you go to like a Cora's, maybe like you can kind of expect to wait a little bit because they do the whole presentation with the fruit. I do think it's a bit overpriced, but I will say
you're paying for the experience.
I've never had a bad breakfast there. It's just expensive.
No, that's fair.
But
yeah.
How are your feelings on like French toast, waffles, pancakes? You know, kind of like these more sweeter and heavier, I guess, probably is appropriate for those.
I think if I'm ranking them, pancakes and French toast are pretty well tied. Waffles will come in third place regardless.
Really? You waffles below pancakes?
Yeah, so the reason being is that like for breakfast, I don't usually have a big sweet tooth.
Mm-hmm.
For breakfast, like to me, waking up and like brushing my teeth and then going out for breakfast and just eating a bunch of like whipped cream and maple syrup
or like
is not
for
usually
me,
my go-to.
The crepes that are just full of Nutella with a banana.
Exactly, it's too much for me in the morning.
Yeah, I agree.
But waffles too, and this is such a weird nitpick, is that obviously they're ruffled, right? They're divots.
Yeah. But they can be crispy. You can get like crispy bits.
They can be crispy.
I don't know. I feel like I would prefer a waffle over a pancake. I do love pancakes, but I think I would prefer a waffle over a pancake.
Pancakes is very nostalgic for me for like Pancake Tuesday.
Of course.
Growing up in like elementary school, just eating those bajillion pancakes.
Yep.
It was great. French toast just seems so bougie in comparison to pancakes and waffles.
It really is, especially since you can do. There's so many elements of a French toast that can change because you can go from using like a sweeter bread, like a brioche, and it's almost like more of a dessert feel, or you can use a more savory. What was the one bread that you gave me? It was like an apple cinnamon sourdough loaf or something like that.
It was apricots, apples, cinnamon, and one other sweet fruit, and it is amazing.
And I used that for French toast, and it was probably the best French toast I've had because I just cut myself a fat slice, like a really thick slice, and make the custard, and I just leave it in there. Just leave that piece in there to really absorb everything.
Soak.
Flip it, let it really absorb everything, and then putting it in, and oh man, that was 10 out of 10. Like I ate that. I could have eaten that without anything else on it. You know what I mean? Like it didn't need anything.
The bread is phenomenal. I think that's the thing too, is like French toast, like you said, it really comes down to so many different elements of the bread, how long you leave it soaking for, if you're putting like how much cinnamon are you putting on, are
you going with some nutmeg, are you adding vanilla to the custard, are you going more for a fruit, so you're going more your basic traditional kind of custard and throwing more fruits and stuff on top of it for the setting. Like there's a lot you can do with it.
It's crazy. French toast definitely underrated.
I agree. And I've seen some elements of French toast be used like in a savory element where it's like you may maybe have like more of your traditional, like a nice sourdough piece, and then you don't make any sweet changes, like nothing desserty to the custard, and you cook it, and then you make more of like a sandwich or something, you know, like adding some ham and it can still be just as good.
Agreed.
I think, French toast, a lot of effort, but a worthwhile effort on that one. The
payoff is definitely
huge. Just
Pancake's
really hard to tell though how much eggs you need though when making it. It's like feels like such a guessing game.
Yeah, you're like, okay, so the thickness of this bread, this could be 2 eggs, could be 4
How
eggs.
much is, or like, how dry is your bread? Is it really, how much is it going to absorb of your eggs?
That's another factor, too.
So it's a bit of a pain, but a worthwhile pain for sure.
Yeah, another versatile thing outside of French toast is also omelets.
Yeah, omelets.
Are you a big omelet person?
This can actually go into what might be our last topic for this, which is breakfast for dinner. I think omelets are the ultimate breakfast for dinner, like breakfast dish quotations.
Okay.
Because oftentimes you're already used to cutting, peppers, onions, whatever, or maybe you have leftover ham, chicken, etc. Right? And you're like, what am I gonna do with this? Throw it in an omelet. Boom, some cheese. Can't go wrong with that. But my question, are you French omelet or are you like American diner style, like got some color on it, the half moon? Yeah, same. I have tried and made French omelets and they are delicious, but they just have like that extra finesse and fanciness to them that's just not needed most of the time.
Agreed.
They look pretty, but man, there's something about just
like
recipe for an omelet or just I think it's called a Denver style omelet, which is just like the ham, cheese, peppers, and onions or something like that.
Okay.
Just like very classic like omelet, ham, cheese, some veg if you got it, and then throw on your eggs, throw on your toppings, throw on your cheese, boom, flip, good to go. Some ketchup on the side.
Okay. Yeah.
You ketchup and eggs. I know that some people think that that's crazy.
I'm not a ketchup and egg kind of guy.
No. I do like ketchup and eggs.
I knew this one guy. What's that?
I was going to say, I have ketchup and eggs on a sandwich, good, like scrambled eggs and ketchup, but I've never had ketchup with like any of my like over easy or fried eggs. Like, if anything, it's usually a hot sauce of some sort. I just feel like the hot sauce mixes with the yolk and it's just like, it creates like its own sauce and it's just unreal.
Okay. I knew this one guy who, when we went for breakfast, he would get over easy eggs. He would like puncture the yolk, and then just use the ketchup and just fill it.
Oh yeah, see, I do something similar.
I just couldn't do it.
I'll poke the yolk and put sriracha on top of it, but not like douse it, just enough. Where I'm like,
he fills that hole up with ketchup.
He must have really liked ketchup and Kraft Dinner.
Oh, he did. He did definitely.
That's the people who do that. That's the huge ketchup lovers.
Yeah. Here, speaking of ketchup, do you care what ketchup you're using? Are you a Heinz? Are you a French's?
Well, recently we had where Heinz actually shifted. Well, this was few years back, but they switched from using Canadian tomatoes to using other tomatoes. So we have moved to French's. But I find I have found that there isn't much of a difference between those two brands. I have noticed after you go off those brands, there does start to be some difference in tastes. But those two seem very close. Like, I feel like you would never tell the difference if I was to put those blindly in front of you. But yeah, we have French's.
I am a French's guy as well, mostly for the same reason with like moving to different tomatoes. But I also, maybe if I blindly tasted them, probably not. But Heinz I find is slightly more acidic, where French is a little bit more sweeter of a ketchup.
Okay.
Not by much, I don't think, but I definitely like, if I have like a lot of ketchup for whatever reason, if I'm doing like hot dogs or burgers or something like that, 9 times out of 10 I might end up getting a rare canker sore if I'm using Heinz ketchup
because of the acidity. Yeah.
But never with French's. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. An interesting ketchup fact actually is I find that the bottled ketchup at restaurants tastes different. Like, the bottled Heinz ketchup always somehow tastes way different than regular Heinz or French's ketchup.
It's like tomato paste.
I don't know if it's because it's in Heinz bottles, but they're just filling them with whatever ketchup they're ordering, and it's actually a different ketchup, or what's going on there.
Yeah.
But every time I go to a restaurant and there's a bottle, specifically a glass bottle, it always tastes different. Part of me's like skeptic and thinks maybe it's just it's not Heinz. But maybe part of me is like, yeah, maybe there's like some sort of special, like how you can never truly get a fountain soda or to taste like a pop, like a pop can or the bottle. It's just never going to taste the same because the carbonation
always tastes different.
I feel like maybe the restaurants have something. They have a special ketchup. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I find like if I get ketchup out of a glass bottle at a restaurant, it always is just more like tomato paste and less of ketchup.
It's thicker. It feels like it's thicker, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot thicker, yeah. Yeah, for me, going back to the omelets, I know we kind of trailed off of that. When it comes to my omelets, it's very similar to like I said, if I'm making tacos the night before and I have like onions, tomatoes, peppers, cilantro,
yeah, whatever you have,
chicken,
whatever you have left
beef.
over gets thrown in. It becomes a leftover meal.
Exactly, and there's already cheese.
Yeah,
like you can't have tacos with no cheese. So I already got the cheese good to go, and I have everything else. I might as well just use it up.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I totally agree. That's like similar. Like, so if we have tacos, like a big thing for me the next day will be maybe we'll have like a rice bowl, right? Cook some rice and then you throw it all in, and boom, different dish. Similar thing, right? Boom. Could you take all those ingredients? Boom, throw it into the omelet. Boom, throw it into a stir fry.
Exactly.
Versatility, baby. Versatility.
It's the way to go.
But yeah. Overall, I think I would say, breakfast is probably, if I was to rank it, it's probably the second best meal of the day, in my opinion. Behind dinner.
Ooh, what's dinner? Okay.
Because dinner, obviously, like it feels like dinner's the ocean, of options. They're just like if you're being strict about what breakfast is, it feels like you do end up getting limited. The other issue is oftentimes I don't wake up in time for breakfast, or like I'm too busy to have breakfast. I really enjoy breakfast. It's just that I'm not.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I'm just too busy to eat breakfast or have time to make it. Lunch is like,
I'm not usually hungry.
Sometimes I'll be skipping lunch too. I'm not a good person. Sometimes my lunch is literally breakfast, and I just don't have a lunch. You know what I mean?
That's where brunch comes in handy.
Like it's like, wake up, check your emails, do some work, have your meetings. Then all of a sudden it's lunch, and my lunch is literally making what I said my go-to breakfast is, or making like a breakfast sandwich. That's like my lunch quotation, but really it's my breakfast. I also have my coffee pretty late. Like I'll have my coffee at like 10:30 usually.
Okay.
Which is much later than I wake up.
But that's good though.
I have read that. I've read both ways, where it's like you shouldn't have to rely on drinking your coffee right away. Like there's studies that are saying like that's good, and then there's studies that say it doesn't make a difference. It's more how much caffeine do you have in the day, right? Which usually for most days I'd say is probably just one drink, one beverage of some sort, whether that's a latte or Americano or whatever it is. It's usually just one.
Espresso something, yeah.
But yeah, this has been our breakfast episode. Specifically
another breakfast episode.
Specifically. We'll dive into some other food some other time randomly when we've got the time. But Matt, do you want to tell everyone what to stay tuned for? Because we've got some stuff coming up.
Well, there's a lot coming out in the next month from this episode onward. So you got to stay tuned for Daredevil Born Again Season 1 recap.
Which has been good.
They're already shooting Season 2.
I've seen that. I've seen so many clips from Season 2. Oh, man. And the last episode of Daredevil that just happened was crazy. Oh, man.
Yes.
So excited to talk about Daredevil.
I'm very pumped to talk about Daredevil. They're doing extraordinary. I am genuinely surprised.
Me too.
And I'm super pumped.
Question mark. Greatest Marvel TV show of all time? That will be asked.
Stay tuned.
That'll be asked.
That will be asked. So we got that episode. After that, we got Anime of the Month. If you're not watching this Anime of the Month, don't know what you're doing with your time.
Join our Discord.
This anime is called Your Lie in April. Join the Discord. Talk about this. We've recommended it to a lot of our friends, and they are watching it. And
already done it.
My goodness.
People have finished
this.
Done
it.
Before
we were this anime down.
As of recording this, we're not even halfway through April, and I already know of 3 people who are done it, and they were done it days ago. Because they couldn't drop it.
I recommended it to someone at the beginning of April. I was like, hey, check this anime out. This is what we're doing in Anime Month. I remember 3 days later, and I sent you the screenshot. It was literally, this anime changed my life.
Yep, and they couldn't watch it. They said, I started, and I couldn't stop it.
Exactly.
Yep. So even Troy watched it in 3 days.
Yeah. I'm super excited to hear what Troy has to say about it, to be honest.
Me too.
And then another big thing is obviously Thunderbolts are coming out soon. The newest Marvel movie.
Yep.
The last movie of Phase 5, I think, I don't know.
I'm kind of excited.
And another big thing too. I am excited.
Interested. Like, you know,
I think it's gonna be fun.
That's the thing. I think it's gonna be fun. I don't know how truly good it will be, but I think it'll be very entertaining.
I think the story's gonna be terrible, but the jokes are gonna be funny.
And I think it'll be really fun to watch.
Exactly. I will be seeing it before you because me and my brother are going to be seeing it the opening day or the day before it comes out. But once you come back from your trip, we'll be able to watch it, and then you'll be able to get our review soon after that. And then another big thing is Star Wars Celebration, yearly thing that happens every year. This year it's in Japan. That's going to be April 19th to 20th or 18th to 20th. We will potentially be getting news about new Star Wars games. Will we get another like Jedi Fallen Order game? We'll get potentially new movie updates. Are we getting the Rey Skywalker trilogy? Are we getting High Republic movie? Probably not because of how bad the accurate it is. There was that game that they foreshadowed like 3 years ago that was supposed to take place during the High Republic. Might get an update for that.
Or
I don't know.
Are they all canceled?
Are they all canceled and they're doing a full reboot? Are they going to make the decision that Force Awakens onwards is not canon? Will we see a trailer for Mandalorian Grogu, Ahsoka Season 2? They'll probably be chatting about Andor Season 2 because that comes out a couple days after Star Wars Celebration. Yep. So I'm pumped because we're both big Star Wars fans.
And we're finally we're getting some Star Wars content. So that's nice.
And I am so excited. And speaking of that, after the Anime of the Month and the beginning of May, we will, because we haven't talked about it yet, is Tales of the Underworld, an animated show that comes out on May 4th. They're a continuation of Tales of the whatever Empire, Sith, Jedi, etc.
Yep.
I'm excited for this. This is Cad Bane and Ventress, I think.
Yes.
Is that who the other person is?
There was
I can't remember
Ventress,
off the top of my head. But I'm super pumped. I'm back in a Star Wars hyper-focus, so I'm reading a lot of comics. I'll send you a couple screenshots, but there's a lot to talk about, so stay tuned. We got anime, we got Marvel, we got Star Wars, and everything else nerdy that we'll be chatting about.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hopefully the audio is not too bad. Remember to join the Discord, like, comment, subscribe, the whole shebang. We got stuff going on in the Nerdy Misfit Gaming channel as well every week. Check out Troy, Tuesday evening streaming. And yeah.
That's it for now.
Anything else to add, Connor?
No, I think we're good. Till next Wednesday.
And we'll see you then.
Goodbye.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.